So you feel you doubled your mind in every aspect?
Yeah,
Every
bro.
aspect.
I really do. As
Do
far
you
as
do you
I've
ever
never felt this
so do
dangerous,
you
dude.
ever that's why I
Like,
was geeking at like Baker Mayfield
seriously.
where it's like, yeah, I woke up feeling dangerous.
Dude, seriously, I swear, like I've never felt this dangerous, bro. Like I feel like I'm at my pinnacle. I mean, I know it's only gonna go higher, but like I'm the definitely the best me I've ever been by a multitude of times, I mean, just everywhere, bro. I'm just noticing that, like, especially in my music, bro. Like, wow, man, I'm
I
just,
saw you start writing your pad,
yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
got back on it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of my mind, yo.
Yeah,
Like
just I remember you writing your journal, yeah.
my mind wanted it,
Started
and
writing
I
your
was like,
journal and
man,
stuff.
like, and I'm sitting there writing, I'm just like, whoa.
When would you start that again?
I started writing again about a month ago.
Cause I remember like it was about a year ago. You were like, I got my pad just because like I would do that on Facebook. But I'm gonna just do it here. I figured I might transition it to like like some
Well,
like
I put
music.
most of that on here, but
Yeah,
as
yeah,
far
yeah.
as like, I still like rap. I still like art.
The
That's
outlet, yeah,
still
yeah. Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of my creativity side,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I feel like I gotta embrace that to stay happy,
Yep.
And maybe that's part of why I've been like this, just but everything's just coming easier, man. Like, I don't know. Like even like with my job change, like it just doesn't feel like much. It just feels like an easy shift. Like I'm just stepping over to the next raft.
Yep.
It's funny because I was looking at it, I was like, it's like a stock, kid. I'm like, it's like stocks. You got in here at 7. You watched it run all the way up to 20. You
Yeah.
made your money,
Yeah.
Now you got to get out of here. Go invest in a bigger stock so you can see a bigger growth.
Yeah. Yep.
This capped out. This
Yeah.
stock's done.
Year
It
over year.
from year over year is done.
You hit that. You hit that fucking 50% increase, and
Now
you're
you
like,
only seeing a buck per
you
year over
know.
year or something.
And that's why I was like, I remember like I'm talking. So we had just had someone like recently in my work. And I remember I'm sitting there and talking to her. And she's talking. She's like, yeah, you're the favorite and whatnot. And we're talking to this other person. I'm talking about like the raises that accrued over the years. And she's like, yeah, it's just because you're the favorite. I was like, hold the fuck up, Yeah, I am liked heavily, and I'm really enjoy it. I mean, that's just because of my attitude, my work ethic, and what I do. I'm not someone that you could dislike in a work environment or as an employee. You know what I'm saying? I was like, no, I worked hard. I worked really hard. You don't just become the favorite because someone just taps you on the shoulder and they're just like, I
Right.
like you. Like I busted my ass out and the things that I do and what I do. So I'm like,
Number one way you make the boss a favorite is you make it money. That's number
exactly.
one. You make
And
me
not
money.
losing money.
Yeah.
I mean, like it couldn't be a lot when you start just taking losses back to right. It's just like you break 10 pieces of glass for 3-4 weeks in a row. You just be like,
Yeah.
Mike's
There's a
not the best.
problem.
Mike's not the best mechanic. It's like, I mean, and it's like, I was just so mad she tried to take that away from me, But also, I was sitting
Yeah.
there. I'm just
I'm
like,
glad you stuck up for yourself.
also, I was sitting there. I've been getting better at that, 100%. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember I was at work one day, and these two older heads, they're reading something. They're saying, "Oh yeah, 52% of high school students nowadays couldn't name one ally for America or one ally in the World War II." You know. And then I'm just like, and then it's like, oh yeah, I believe that. These kids nowadays are just silly, they don't know shit. And I'm just like, hold the fuck up, guys. Okay, first of all, you gotta ask yourself, how many people did they fucking survey? Okay. Second of all, where did they do that survey? Because I guarantee you go to any of these Balmer City schools, of course you'll get that high ass rating. But you go to any other school system that's doing good, you won't fucking get that.
I was just watching a video on that on how you could really misconstrue any statistic, right? Like, so let's say there's 1,000 kids, 1,000 seniors, and 100 drop out. That means 10% dropped out, right? So then let's say the next year, 200 drop out, right? Did 100% more kids drop out or did 50% more kids drop out?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's all how you want to word it. If you want a word to look good, you say 50%. You want a word to look bad, you'll say 100%.
Yeah, so the next day I'm like, all right, well, they say up to 65% of people in your age group can identify a fake news article. But
from the top up.
But do I think y'all are fucking idiots? No. Do I use that to paint every other fucking old head out here? I was like, no. I was just salty. I got really mad about it. I'm just sitting there because for one, I'm like, for one, you guys don't even. Who do you talk to in that age group? I talked to plenty of people in this age group with smart people, knowing people. Second of all, that same kid who doesn't know Ally World War II can show you crazy shit to do with your fucking phone that you can't even fucking find your settings button, bro. It's like you want to call him dumb.
I got a good one for you too, bro. Same situation. I didn't get as good as a serve as you did, you
It
know.
felt good. It felt
But
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good comeback right
yeah.
there. But I was talking to the guy after the Ravens game, and the guy I was talking to, old Christian conservative dude, and he's like, "Yeah, that was disrespectful what the Ravens did on Tennessee logo," you know. And I was like,
Oh,
well,
that's funny.
they had did that to us, so they were getting their revenge. I was like, sometimes you gotta let a player do other things besides just football. He's like, these people they need to be studying the playbook and shit. And I was like, sometimes you need to get your mind off of the game to play better, you know?
Uh-huh.
But so we're sitting there talking. He's like, yeah, he's like, it's in the culture. He really has an underlying racism, but he doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
You
like,
can hear it.
it's in the culture. And I was like, well, obviously they care about their culture, right? Because we could have signed Antonio Brown. We would have been the favorite, and we didn't. We didn't. So we care about our culture, obviously, some. And he's like, oh, that's different. It's apples to oranges. Every time I make a point, it's apples to oranges.
Mhm.
So then he's like, all these people, they play selfish now. I was like, well, these are the first generations that are seeing these 70-year-old football players that can't even speak and can't walk and can't play with their grandkids because, they took 50 fucking concussions in their head over all of these years and they can't even, function anymore. So I'm sure they're looking at it a little bit more selfish nowadays, knowing the consequences of it.
Yeah.
You're not going to see the same football.
Mhm.
They're going to know at the end of the day, like, I could be Ryan Shazier tomorrow.
Yeah.
And what am I? I lose everything from my family. So
Exactly.
there is a bit of selfishness that's going to come into it where you're like, I'm doing this for my family before I'm doing this for my team.
Yep.
But I'm doing this before my team before I'm doing this for me. That's what's important.
And not only that, it's like people just seem to just put things to the side, man. For a lot of these athletes, bro, especially when they make it to this type of situation, a lot of times that was their out. That's what they worked from high school on to make sure that they could make it out of a bad situation. Like the child of what they were growing up in, that they could make it out and then give something better. I mean, like I mean, you look at it in any of these like inner city football programs, a lot of kids, look at it as a way to make it out and make it big, so they put a lot of time and effort into that thing. And then when you get up to that point, you see the things you're able to do. I mean, like we see countless videos all the time. They bought their mom like a fucking their first car. They bought their mom their first house, type of situation,
Like what Mike
That's
Vick did. Right? What Mike Vick did was horrible.
Mhm.
And obviously he should be persecuted for what he did to those
Yeah.
animals. Everybody knows I love animals. But Jadakiss made a great point, in that What If song when he said, what if Peyton was fighting dogs instead of Mike Vick? Really think about that, bro. If Peyton Manning was the one that was running that pit bull face like that, you think he'd have been prosecuted that much? Because it wasn't about the the jail sentence. The jail
Yeah.
sentence, you committed your crime, but the media
Yep.
scrutiny and the media following that came to that,
Yep.
they would have definitely painted it different. If anybody can't admit that there's a media bias, then there's an everyday bias. If you can admit there's a
Mhm.
media bias, then there's a person bias.
I
Simple as
think
that.
I think it's ever more clear when you see coverage of like BLM protests or even shootings of any of these individuals. The cop shootings of any of these individuals. The first thing they're painted is the first thing that's ever brought up is their criminal history. If you're a black man, your criminal history is getting brought up.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think it was ever more apparent recently. So you saw George Floyd. Okay, oh, he's this, he's that. Oh, he's Jacob Blake. He's this, he's that. I mean, because that's what they said he was. It wasn't a man who got shot. It was an ex felon who got shot.
That's what they made it. Yep.
You look and you saw what happened with the coverage with Ashley Babbitt, the woman who died going into Capitol Hill. What was her coverage? Ex Navy veteran.
Yeah.
But they failed to realize that she has multiple destruction of property charges and a fucking restraining order against her. Like they won't bring, but like the immediate headlines, and that's from the same what you would call liberal or left leaning media.
This is true.
That's
This is
Washington
very
that's
true.
Washington Post saying that. So the same news places we go to look for our what we would call progressive news sites like your CNN, they all do the same thing. And it's I mean it was never more clear than with like the most recent with Ashley Babbitt, which in reality was some crazy person who was running up in the Capitol building, like just some crazy shit. but it's an ex-Navy veteran who got shot. You know.
And that is how they paint it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is
Yeah.
how they paint it.
Yeah.
It's
it has nothing to do with her being white and him being black. It doesn't. You know.
What I thought it was funny is how, like, I don't know if you've seen the filmmaker from Icarus was on Joe's podcast.
That was the doping.
I forget his name. Yeah,
that was a doping documentary though.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
And he's on there and he's like, I gotta worry about, because he's releasing another documentary and it's about forgot how you say his name, Kiyoshi, the journalist in
Jamal
Saudi Arabia,
Khashoggi.
Khashoggi,
Yeah.
and about what happened to him and shit. Bro, did you know they embalmed him while he was alive?
They dismembered him, bro.
But I didn't know this though. But you bomb people while they're alive to stop their blood flow when you plan a quick dismemberment. They bombed him while he was alive, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So his wife is like, super thankful for this filmmaker that's releasing this film and shit. But right now, he was on there saying like, there's a chance that like Russia could still come, poison him and kill him. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
They poison people over there, and Saudi Arabia kills their journalists.
They just found that one dude. The poison, can be traced back to Russia.
Yeah.
And it was he was telling him how he rubbed it in his underpants, which is crazy that he could get that close. First of all,
yeah,
and just hit you with this fucking neurotoxin.
Why do you think those people that charged the Capitol didn't wear masks?
Well, I mean, typically that's a belief among what you would say most.
I just thought it was funny because like all those people that were charging the Capitol, they all look at Antifa and they're like, "Show your face, pussies." Antifa's not wearing a mask to hide from you. It's so they don't get identified by the police.
And the FBI,
exactly. And the FBI and camera surveillance. Dumb motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you talk about charging the Capitol and all you got is a face, like those people's lives are ruined, bro.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I took the mask off. I went back to work the next day. You got pointed out and fired.
Your ex-wife.
That's not even smart.
Did you see the one guy's ex-wife called up and got him fired?
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
Like it was an ex-wife that seen the video and was like, "That's my husband." The guy that that had the zip ties, bro. You see that guy with the helmet on? Yo, that guy's crazy. That guy should get some definite charges for like domestic terrorism or something. That's sketchy. That's like what?
He was messed up.
Dude, hold up. Why were you just on a whole different level than everybody else though? Like, why were you on zip? You know what I mean? Zip ties and shit. Whatever though. Besides that, but his ex-wife apparently called up and got him fired, I believe.
There was
and it was just funny because the guy on the radio was like, "Whoa, what are ex-wives for?"
There was another one.
So good.
This girl, the story goes that she got kicked out by her parents' house for going to BLM protests. Going to them multiple times and whatnot. Well, she pointed out both her parents at the Trump riot.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it's the woman where if you see there's a black woman in the crowd and she has her phone. I think it looks like she's dancing or something. And then this white lady tries to go and like swipe at it, and the black girl just fucking cracks her shit square in the nose.
Holy
quick,
shit!
And pretty much breaks her nose. And then that lady got escorted away. This lady had a broken nose, and this woman came out. And she was like, "Yeah, it's my mom. That's my dad right next to her." Like it's just, it's like,
I love the one lady that was like got pepper sprayed. She's like, "What happened?" They're like, "What happened?"
They pushed me out of
I got maced. Yeah, I got maced. Bro. And you're like, "Well, why'd you get maced?" They're storming the Capitol.
It's the revolution.
It's a revolution.
And then the best part, what's your name? Elizabeth? Where you from? I'm from Minnesota. Like, you just incriminated yourself,
dude. And it's funny because like those same people they've went all their life like, I don't understand why these black people do their crimes and then show their money on social media. It's like exactly what you're doing. You want to be known for your crime. You want to be known that you did it because you have this ego. You have this human ego that like you have to be recognized while you do it.
Exactly. And I mean, that's the whole thing. Where like, I wish we could come back to like a rational point. Where like I don't like people just I don't really understand why you can't just look at the own flaws within the own side that you technically align with.
Listen, though, you know what I was thinking though? Couldn't there be, picture this, right? So let's say there's this planet super smart, right? They're super advanced, neuro-linked and
You got me.
everything,
You got me.
right? And they plan, they know,
What up, Saul?
they know the fear of, asteroids and nuclear warfare and everything, so they plan for it. And say if it was to the point where like that was the only advancement they had was tech. The world was destroyed, right? Like just limited water sources, no fun activities, no parks. Outside's hard to breathe in, blah, blah, blah. Couldn't you see a world where they just were like, okay, let's perfect a augmented reality and live in that until we're able to inhabit that world again? Because you can live in a bunker for a year, you can live in a bunker for maybe 5 years, but like living in a bunker for 50 years, like your whole life, dude,
Yeah. Yep.
it's really next level. So I was thinking about that and I was like, okay, well, why couldn't this be the euphoria that one of those planets would download? It's like, it doesn't matter what pain you suffer in this world, it's just part of the game,
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter what happens in here. It's all just a different part of the game. That's one thing I was thinking. But then I don't know, I was thinking was like, a part of me wonders if like all of you are fake.
Truman.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like Truman, but just like you only exist to fill out the settings in my lifespan. And then like the only time I exist is to fill out the settings in your lifespan as I exist in it,
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. And
I was like, why is it? Go ahead.
It's so weird to watch you think about that because I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, I know I'm real, It's like it's like, well, I know, I know, I think like I would say the same about him, really.
But isn't
He's saying
it?
that to me.
Isn't it the classic? If a tree falls in the woods, that's what it is, right? Because like, I'm gonna get a little weird, but like, you leave here right now after this cast, I no longer know you exist.
Yeah, it's like the whole.
You see what I mean?
That's the whole thing with what they call Schrodinger's cat, where it's like he put a cat and poison in a box. And without being able to see inside the box, you have to assume that both states, the cat is alive and the poison's there, or the poison's knocked over and the cat's dead. You have to assume both of those things exist in that very moment because there's no way to perceive it. The Schrodinger's cat.
Right.
Yep. So
and
like
then here's the crazy part is when you perceive something, it can change the outcome. Right? Just like with an atom, right? Just like with an atom.
Yeah. Atoms are still when you look at them.
That's crazy, ain't it?
Yeah. No, it's very fucking crazy.
I can't figure out if all of this is beautiful or if all of it is make-believe is what I'm saying.
Ones and zeros?
Yeah. Because the problem that I'm having, the problem that I keep hitting is just people's minds, bro. Like I started really coming to this point in this year where it was like, okay, I'm too old to keep trying to like change people. I just gotta like, I guess, try and mold people as they help mold me. And I probably can't, try and invest too much in people and try to change like these core values that are inset in them at this point,
Right.
And you realize, man, it's a lot of people. A lot of people have like this mindset that like, I don't know if it can even be broken in one day. Can it be broken in 1 year? It's like, it's so instilled, like the classic thing of like, just think about a basic thing. Like there's those people that always go like, I wonder, where these are made at. And I wonder like how straws are bent. And I wonder and I wonder and I wonder and I wonder and I never know. You hear that all the time. Like that's not even to me a smart person. The smart person who goes and figures that out. So like, I want to know where these are made. I get on Google, I do my research, and I figure out where that's at. Just the basic thing of having to tell people, Google it. It's already a problem, man. I'm talking like 9 out of 10 people, bro. You got to tell Google that. You want to know that? Google that. You got every answer right there in your fucking pocket, and you're using it for every fucking thing but gaining knowledge, bro. And it's just so crazy to me, man. And And that got me into thinking about like how happy I am that I do live in this world, bro, because I am addicted to my phone and I do like my phone, but I'm one of the people that really believes I use my phone for good reasons, like at least 60/40.
Yeah.
If I actually am just crazy learning, I was thinking, what if I didn't have my phone? And all I had to do was talk to people, bro.
Get your information from people.
Oh my
So
God. I'll be hitting wall
a
after
couple,
wall
bro.
after wall.
That's the thing. A couple of weeks ago, when I think it was like a little while after New Year's, and I remember this when we were all chatting in the chat, having that talk. I remember I was talking. I was just like, I'm thinking like, like nowadays, just give someone 10K, blah 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 blah. Where like back then, you were only as valuable as the knowledge that you had. That was the only value you had in
Yeah.
society, other like unless you accrued some type of crazy wealth. But you had to be a relatively smart person to accrue
And
wealth in a time like this.
and like with the scholars, even after monetary value was established, they still were paid to be scholars, to
Yeah,
have knowledge.
yeah. Like I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, you're in this ancient world. You come across a language that you've never even heard, and then some guy comes up to you, he's just that's
He
Mandarin.
and he
This is
might be
ancient
the
Chinese.
only guy that can do
Exactly.
that at that time.
Exactly. Where like, some outsider decided to learn the language or something,
Yeah.
and like,
Like
well
you
now, hold up. This guy's incredibly fucking valuable, bro.
Yeah, like even
That's
if like you take over a village and you got a ship maker in that village, you don't want to kill that ship maker.
what I'm saying.
You
Like,
want him to come to your side and make
I'm watching the
ships.
first season of Game of Thrones, and like, Joffrey's just like, a butcher's son. I'm just like, bro,
Yeah.
back then, man, like, bro, he's a butcher. He owns a butcher shop. That's more than fucking 99% of people fucking got. Most people don't go and start fucking businesses.
I've been doing knowledge on Aztecs, right? And
Oh, bro.
just a little bit that I'm just diving in, just basic knowledge right now. But there was something that was very funny where like, once they were established and the Mexico was established, people really wanted to like break that off and just establish it to be Mexicans in that spot. They didn't want that Aztec to be there anymore because this is back when people still believed in gods and shit. And they believed that like the Aztec were these holy people. They ended up running them out of Mexico. And I forget to exactly where they go. Maybe it's somewhere in Mexico for all I know at this point. But they go to this land, they go to this guy, and they're like, look, um, if you just give us land, we'll work it, and we're fight for you. The Aztecs were actually known as great warriors. I didn't know that neither.
Mhm.
But they're like, we're fight for you, and all we need is land for work. So there was like this rumor going around that these people they wanted to get these people dead. So rumors were spread that like these people were devils and shit like that. So the guy was like, okay, I don't want to eliminate an entire race. So he gave him a swampy marsh area that was like supposed to be unlivable, basically, with venomous snakes. And they just adapt to the point where they're eating the venomous snakes. They got the marsh turned over to soil, like all types of
Mhm.
shit. And they make it grow so much that this king looks at it and he then believes that they are holy people, because of what they were able to do to this land that was given to them.
Right.
And this is actually has nothing to pertain to necessarily what we're saying, but I just thought that was a funny little thing how like they were on the run for their death, and they were able to find a value and prove their worth somewhere, even given the worst circumstances of the most
Yeah.
unworkable tile. Marsh tile, bro.
Now,
Marsh tile does not convey the good.
this is the thing that most people don't know. But when it comes to the Aztecs, the Inca Empire, the Peruvian people, Inca Empire, um, they were where they lacked in some places, which is why they eventually ended up losing like Spanish and European colonization and whatnot. But what they lacked in some areas, they exceeded in others. They were one of the first known civilizations to figure out pressurized water systems,
Mhm.
irrigation, uh, really complex irrigation and sewage systems. These
Right.
empires were noted and known by many European people more as being extremely clean and
And
being envious because in Europe they're dumping shit out the window. They're dumping shit in the streets. Bubonic plague style. There's rats and shit everywhere. whereas these empires are notoriously known for being exceptionally clean,
Hmm.
and being pretty much the envy of, like, the world.
Isn't it funny how that's like a thing that was envied? That's what I always say. Go back to village time, like that. You know how to create a sanitation system, dude.
Uh-huh.
You're everything to me.
Yeah.
I'll protect you with my life.
If you look at the Machu Picchu, I believe, the city in the mountains, and that's the Incan Empire. First, they figure out how to build this crazy complex structure in the fucking sky in the mountains. But they also figured, very complex
Calendar.
things,
You, bro.
yeah,
Yeah.
to
Overflow flood systems,
yeah, to avoid
basically. Yeah.
flooding,
Yeah. Drainage, I guess it would
Mhm.
be, right? You should really watch the Survivor show, dude. Just because of like how we're interested in it now, and kind of that type of thing, and you can just kind of see how like human minds work. I was thinking about the other day, man. If I could, I probably would have got into psychology. If I was going to go to school, I would have liked to get into psychology because I do like watching human experiments the most. I like watching human experiment. I would like to be a human experiment observer, bro. And that's what I feel like that show is, because the great thing about that show is every season they do something different. So it's not repetitive. They always, like this season, they added in like an exile island. So you got to send one of your own people to an island by themselves, and shit like that. And they give them different things each season, to work. So they're in these like islands out by like the fucking Bermuda Triangle and shit, dude. And it's just raining all the fucking time. Like their wood's getting wet, like everything's getting wet. So they win a challenge and they get an outhouse, a wooden outhouse that they deliver at their camp. And they're all arguing about what they're going to do with this outhouse because it has plenty of toilet paper in it and they can finally go to the bathroom. If not, they're wiping their ass with leaves and like got to bury their shit and everything.
Yeah.
And like half of them are like, well, we want an outhouse, like we want to use it, And the other ones are like, well, everything's getting wet here and we can store a lot of shit in it because it was tall. They're
Yeah.
like, we can store our firewood and like our clothes in it and just, not use it for shitting because we're already are shitting out here, basically.
Mhm.
And it's funny because they're arguing back and forth. And this one guy just gets up and goes and takes a shit in there. And that was kind of the end of the argument. You know what I mean? But it's just funny watching these little human experiments. Like,
because right then there, it's like, well, he did it.
it's over now. They're not going to go clean shit out, So at that point, it was a bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there was another time where, like, I was telling you before, they gave him a 5-gallon. They had no water, bro. They had to like boil this muddy ass, dirty water. Yeah, it was where elephant shit. Horrible, bro. Like, I didn't even. Like they were like doing tests afterwards, and like they got parasites and like all types of shit, bro. Right? So they have a challenge for water, and the team wins this big ass like 300-gallon thing. It's like enough for like 10 gallons a day for each person or some shit. And they're like, you can do what you want with it. They do these they're doing human experiments too.
Yeah.
They're trying to stir up shit,
Yeah, exactly.
They're trying. That's what they're trying to do. So they give it to them, and like they're telling them, they're like, yeah, you can drink from it, do whatever, clean your shit and everything. So they had no water, and like at first it's only 5 of them. There's a team of 5 and 5 at this point. They're both drinking, like it's fine because it's so much water. They're cleaning their clothes and everything. Then they do like a merge. So it becomes like it was like 7 and 7, so it all became like 13 people or some shit at like one tribe, and they're all using the water, and they all start using it to clean their clothes, and then like all of a sudden the people that were originally there, it's not really their tribe no more. They're all one big tribe now from all these other different tribes, and they're like, look, the water's getting low in there. I think we should stop using it for our clothes and, just drink off it. And they're like, well, you guys had this here the whole time and you washed your clothes, 50 times already. I washed my clothes one time and you're telling me don't do it again, basically. Like they're like, but now it's our tribe. You get what I'm saying? Like they choose, so they both have a different camp. I know. And then once they join, they choose which camp they want to go to. So they're all like, we're going to the water camp. So whoever had the water, they were going to go to, basically. And then, they're like, well, look, you can stop washing your clothes, but we're going to. And at this point, it's like half people that were there and half people not. So if you do want to do something, let's say if it was like not a show and it was like, you're like, all right, bro, like they're attacking our water source, bro. Like Okay, well, it is 5-on-5. You know what I mean? Ain't like you got numbers or something. That's why I always say I think it's about sleep, bro. I really do. I think like the best way to kill someone is probably sleep deprivation. That's when you're most vulnerable. Like anybody can kill you in
Fuck
your
with
sleep.
everything, yeah.
If we're sleeping, that's why I said, what's the most valuable thing to a human? If there's danger and I'm sleeping, that the person next to me will alert me of that danger because I'm at my most vulnerable when I'm
Yeah,
sleeping, you
yeah,
know? Like, and a kid can kill you, bro. Take a little pocket knife and
yeah,
get you twice before you wake up.
yeah.
You know what I mean? A 5-year-old, bro, could do that.
And just
Like,
do you in like
and
that.
just do you in like that
And the
easy,
fucking
bro.
jugular.
And you're just out there in the middle of nowhere, ain't no hospital, you know, and you're just bleeding out like a motherfucker, bro.
Hmm.
It's that easy. So that's why I've been looking like, man, okay, well, if you got to beat anyone, Vader, you think you got the upper hand already or not? You should probably try to get them in their sleep.
Mhm.
So at that point, once I know there's a problem for the water source, it's like I got to talk to my 5, and I'm gonna like, look, for now on, we're gonna start doing like nightly shifts until we can plot to kill them. I mean, if we're at that point, I'm talking about, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Where it's like, look, you got Steve, you're staying up tonight. Tomorrow, I'll stay up until we can get all of them asleep at the same time to get them. You know,
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
just what it would be.
that's the
That's
thing.
why I
It's like,
like the show.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Because it makes you think about that shit, you know?
Yeah, I
Like,
feel yeah.
damn, bro, you're in the middle of
But not only
nowhere.
that, but like you're saying, like with the whole psychology aspect, where it's like you see these people, and it's like, all right, it's like, well, if he keeps washing his clothes, I'm gonna just keep washing my clothes. It's like it's
And then you got the person that's like, soon we're
I
gonna be out
wouldn't
of
be surprised
water.
if these Survivor dudes had some type of psychologist, psychologist team on there. They're just like, look, this is what these guys are gonna fight over. Okay,
Yeah.
think about the most basic human, thing.
Yeah, African
know?
one, bro. They stay out there 39 days, bro, in the middle of a safari in a fucking wood circle, a bush or circle, dude.
See, like, am I crazy or does that not sound too long?
You think it's too long?
No, I said, does that not sound too long? Like, that doesn't sound too long at all.
It's no, that's hard, bro.
I'm saying,
No,
like,
listen,
am I
like,
crazy or
no, dude, like this one I'm telling you about, bro. Like this season was no joke. Like literally the hardest season I've seen was when they put them in that African fucking safari, bro. They were in the middle of the desert. This is the one I'm telling you with the water.
Okay.
They were in the middle of the desert. All they had was a circle of bushcraft in the middle of there, bro. And they can't kill exotic animals because I think they're allowed to kill animals, but you can't bring a weapon or something like that. You can't bring a gun or nothing. Even if you have a bow, if you shoot one of them animals, they're technically going to get away. You have to go get the meat. Then you have to bring that meat back. It's 115 degrees, so like they're looking at it like, damn, we really can't hunt, and there's no fishing spots around, bro. So, it gets to the point, bro, where it's like 11 days, and then people ain't ate, bro. You know what I mean? Like, that's hard. And you're talking about now you say, oh, well, 39 is not that far. If you get food, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure,
They give you a water source every time. They always make sure you got some water one way or another.
You can't live that long.
Exactly, exactly. But like, there was one girl who wouldn't drink that water, bro, in Africa. She was like, it tastes like tar. And everybody on there was like, we all admit that it tastes like shit. Like, we know that is bad water. We should not be drinking it. But if you want a chance at this $1 million, you're gonna have to drink this water. Like, this like she was getting so bad where her lips started cracking and shit, bro.
Man. Like, I remember, you see plenty of videos where the people were rescued at sea.
Yeah, bro, and there's just
lips are just plain white, not because
white
they don't have
cracked.
not because they have like blood flow, it's because they're so dry.
Yeah,
bro. The moisture, your body's just absorbing and drinking off that moisture. Trying to stay alive. Their lips are literally fucking like it's. And then the other thing is that especially with people with like severe dehydration, is that you typically when they drink water and stuff, if you don't have an immediate like IV and stuff, even then you want to get their lips wet. You gotta you only can give them small sips of water because they're gonna get sick.
Right.
They're gonna throw up.
Just like with food.
And not only that, they'll literally chug to the point where they'll fucking pretty much drown themselves.
Yeah.
They'll just be going crazy. Mm-hmm. You ever seen someone affected by serious rabies, bro? One of the side effects of rabies is extreme hydrophobia.
What's that mean?
You're scared of water. You don't like water, bro. Yeah. Rabies makes you scared of water, bro, because it's not good for I believe it's not good for the virus. I think one big thing with rabies is that
that is so weird and scary.
These videos where they're trying to get people to drink this water, being rabies, and they're sitting there just like, just like they just can't fucking do it, man. They can't fucking put the water down, man. It's like Like, and that's the thing. Like, rabies is fucking that can be deadly, bro. You know, when you see something rabid, you gotta kill it. You
Yeah,
know,
and
yeah,
it's funny because when you're a kid, like, your parents always tell you, like, "You get rabies, you have to get, like, 30 shots in your stomach." And, like, last time I was at the hospital for a reason when I got cut, I seen someone that actually a person next to me had gotten rabies, bro, like, had just got bitten by a dog with rabies, and it was 9 shots is what
yeah,
they had to get, which is
yeah.
still a lot of shots.
It makes you aggressive. You know, like it really makes you like
That's so scary, isn't it?
unpredictable. Like it's a very like I don't people don't like don't think about rabies because like there's not a crazy rabies. Like you don't even see rabid animals. You know, you don't see those things.
Bro, back in my dad's prime fiend days, bro, down in Hollandtown, there was a factory down there that literally would pay him to come in there and kill rats, yo. And, like, I remember, like, this one time where he had cornered this rat, bro, and, like, he had a fucking, like,
You were with them.
it was a water hose, yeah, it was a water hose, and, he was like, he would go up to him and, like, spray the shit out of him and drown him, basically. And he was about to spray this rat in a corner, and I remember this motherfucker jumped from that corner to that corner, yo, at his neck, like, right at his neck. Didn't get him, but, like, that just, like, ultimately, like, set a picture,
Hmm.
forever of, like, these things are not to be fucked with, bro, and that's something I don't care how small a rat or a mouse is. Those motherfuckers are dangerous, bro.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah.
dangerous to human health.
Yep.
I think we can eradicate the species and be okay. I don't see what benefit they do.
Yeah, it's just tough because I mean, like we said before, man, cities are just the ultimate breeding nest. You know, like I mean, like it's just a byproduct of city living. City
I don't
living,
even know
city
what to do
living in
anymore,
general is
bro. They
unhealthy. Where
chew they
you don't do cities.
they
You
chewed
know,
through my city trash can.
it's straight up known.
They bury in my
It's
shed.
straight up known that cities, once they reach up to certain populations, are way unhealthier than people who live in smaller
Yeah,
populations.
bro. So they were digging underneath my shed, yo, and burying in there. I dug out all around it and put crushed glass all the way around the side, bro, and patted it down and like hit it, Yeah, they chewed through the glass, Steve.
Yeah,
They
probably ate it.
chewed the
Probably ate
glass
some.
up, bro.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Big charge, small charge, everything, yo. It's
Yeah,
crazy, bro.
there's not. I don't think there's not much that
I
could
was
be
like, what
fucking
can
done,
I
bro.
do,
You know, especially
man?
when you're talking about something living, you're talking about something that breeds like insanely like fast, and then you're talking about places like cities where, like you go in the sewer system in any in Baltimore City or New York or anything, they're living in the sewers, bro. They're living
Yeah.
down there. There's
And I just
plenty of
feel
shit
like
for
you
them down there.
like in a row home, bro, you can just be the cleanest person in the world, yo, and a mouse will get in your house.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It just is what it is,
Yeah,
bro.
I mean,
It
especially
sucks.
especially in the wintertime, these things are looking for shelter. They're
But
digging in places. They
yeah,
dig.
yeah, you see these things everywhere. I mean, if you
Hmm.
go out in the country, you got field
They
mice.
can get up in your fucking walls and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like even on Survivor, they were on a fucking island, bro, and they had big ass rats running over them at night, yo. I didn't like that.
No,
I did not like
no,
that,
I
bro.
don't like that shit either,
But
bro.
I would just
Oh shit.
but you have control of
No,
what
man, I'm
you wanna
good. I'm
do, so,
good.
like, if you want, you can do an elevated shelter. Like, you can that's why I
That's
never
what I'm saying. I would
like, they're always they
Survivor.
vote each other off, so they're always kinda on the verge of, like, don't wanna get you pissed off. A lot of times, I always wonder, like, on there, why don't people do more of their own thing? Like, if you want something, like, say everybody's sleeping on the ground, and I'm like, "Bro, I do not want rats running over top of me." Like, it might still get me, but I wanna be in the air. Why not just build yourself it? If nobody else wants it, just build it for yourself if that's what you want. Instead, they're like, I'll sleep on the ground and do something I don't want to do. I just don't get that. They want somebody to help build it or
Yeah,
something, you know?
yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. Like it's another like tough aspect to it because like you also need since people are voting like you need people like the manipulation aspect and like like working the alliances and type of thing just
Yeah.
trying to like who to trust not to trust and like working that in your
Right.
favor
Well, like I keep
especially
telling you,
after
you
you
gotta
get
watch a
out type of
season.
thing. Yeah.
Well, the one thing is that so at first, I think there's 16 of them, and they're doing team challenges for rewards
Yeah.
and immunity basically. So there's a reward challenge, which is like, peanut butter jelly sandwiches or something, or water, and both the teams compete, and then there's an immunity challenge, and both the teams compete, and whoever loses, they go to tribal council where they have to vote someone off.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
So once it gets to the point where it becomes one team, once it's that small, you're able to get individual immunity in those challenges. So if you win every challenge, you're good, But like there was one guy they had on there, the one I'm watching now. He's 47 years old. He's a retired Navy fighter jet pilot, bro. And he was just kicking ass, like he's just winning every fucking challenge. To the point where everybody flipped on him because they're like, look, he's too strong. He's going to go just like they do with a lot of black guys. Once the teams merge and it becomes that individual challenges, they're like, look, we got to get rid of this guy because he's going to win every challenge. Basically, anything physical, he's going to win. That's what this guy was doing. This white boy, the white boy was getting it this time. And he won 3 in a row. But like in the process, they realized, damn, he's winning every one. So they flipped the numbers to be able to start eliminating his alliance. Yeah. So like at this point, he had to keep winning those immunities to not get voted off. Exactly. And then they go into immunity challenge, bro. And they all throw these axes at balloons. And every time you hit a balloon, you get to come up and cut someone's rope, which is like you get 3 strikes, you're out, basically. Yeah. Well, they're all against him. So he hits them every time, but they all hit once and he's out. Yeah. So he got eliminated just like that, bro. Exactly, and it's funny because he's like, I'll just keep winning every challenge. But on that one, he had no chance of winning that challenge.
Well, I'm sure at that moment, like they might have even changed or even worked up something where they were like, all right, look, we have this thing, axe on, but like, this guy's winning everything. This is unprecedented.
Right.
We don't even know what we can't have this.
Well, here's the cool thing. So
what if we allow them, if you make one, you can choose to cut someone's rope. And there's a little fire.
I feel like they know what's going on in the camp. Like they try to keep it. So like they know what's going on. And they try to make the challenges according to what will make it worse on them. So with that, they're looking at that guy like, look, he's winning every challenge. But also, if you take him to the end and it's just 2 people left, the jury will vote for him because, he did the best. He was the leader, basically. So he's got to go, So they ended up kicking him off and shit. And there's just nothing he can do.
Exactly.
And it just shows you like numbers really do matter. And you try to translate that to like the real tribal aspect of it and not a reality show of it, and just be like, damn, it doesn't matter. If you're the biggest, baddest motherfucker, if it's 1 versus 5, chances are they're gonna get you sooner or later.
Exactly, that's why I was really impressed with that one dude, Tony. It was just like, after a couple of times you get ousted as like being like a liar. It's like, man, how did he like win?
You know what I noticed is after watching a bunch of seasons, he had a good cast for him to win.
Yeah.
He just had a lot of gullible people who were like just believed him. Where like you watching the other ones. That also was only season 7, so it's like still kind of early. Where like when you're watching season 15, everybody's like, I don't know if he's even telling the truth, because there's other things like they give you those clues that I showed you he was running for, which is like an idol. And like before everybody votes for somebody off, you could play your idol and nobody can basically vote for you. So on this one, like the season I'm watching now that they're on, they made that exile island, where you're basically have to vote somebody to go be by themselves. But on that island, they made a super, basically a secret immunity idol, which if you find that on that island, you can play it after the votes. So if you're voted off, you can say, I'm on. And that guy that I'm telling you about he found that because he was winning everything. Then they sent him there and then he found that. Yeah. So he saved himself once, but they got him on the next one.
Yeah. So. I got you, man. I got you. It's
just a fun. It's now that I know about it, it's the best reality show I ever watched, bro.
Yeah,
it's like right up my alley,
Yeah, I like thinking about life in those earlier times a lot, bro, and how much different it would be like as a living person in that type of world.
Right. Well, that's the only way you really like. I like to think about like what will work right in that time, and I go like, okay, well, if you're trying to lead people like. I try to watch this show and I try to see like what these like guys like Tony, like how did he make that work?
Yeah.
And like how are these people that are winning this game and like manipulate? How did they make that work? Why did that person respond like that to what he did? And like try to pick up these little tabs on like, okay, look at the things that they value also, because they are left alone. Like, especially like those first 11 days, they're pretty much like isolated and they have to go do everything themselves. So
Right, right, right,
like,
right.
if you're like, there's one guy who like they all hate, but he fishes like a motherfucker, bro. He's bringing them starfish, mani rays, bro, eels, all types of shit to eat, and they want to get rid of him. He's not even part of the lines, but they're like, look, we get rid of him, we ain't gonna eat, bro. They ended up waiting to a day that he caught a big ass bunch and got him out. And right, they ate it and they got him
Oh God.
out.
That's what I'm saying, man. These motherfuckers. That's what I'm saying. It's a very.
But he was doing too much too, where like the whole time he was always like, well, every time they voted in the elimination, he'd always be like, well, I hope everybody enjoys, that I'm bringing them fish. He would always like bring it up and shit.
Yeah.
And people didn't like that. It's like he's like, we can tell he's just riding that, and just like, it's enough, basically. So you notice these little things where you're okay, you can't. Okay, it's good that you did that, but you can't overdo it.
Yeah, I see the aspect of like what you're talking about now, where like, and why you enjoy it so much, because it's that tribalness.
Yeah,
it's a very good embodiment of like what like I mean politics, which is just among people. Like whatever, but fuck that shit going on every now. But the politics is what's among us right now, the alliances, the social alliances, who's against me, who's with me.
And then it gets like even deeper, it gets cool, because it's like, okay, 6 of us make an alliance when there's 16 of us. But then in that 6, you're hanging around all the time. Say, you're in the 6 with me from the original. We're like, yeah, all 6 of us, we're going to the final 6, basically. But then me and you were at the waterhole 2 or 3 times. That 3rd time, I'm like, can I trust you, man? Because I can take me and you to final 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like, there's another 2 in that, another 3 in that 6 that were like, we can take us to the final 3, so you got to know when to get in
and get your
when to
check.
get out.
Spy check, bro. Get your spy check going.
Your spy check,
yeah, so you know what's going on, man.
Spy check. That was cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
That was so cool.
I mean, like we were saying earlier, like, with him, spy check information, getting that, ear what's going on is invaluable in a tribe, bro.
Yeah.
Like when you have, I mean, like, okay, yeah. So the whole tribe has some knowledge, cool. But what about the knowledge that I only hold, bro? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know there's a fucking like poisonous snake nest right next to the leader's hut, but he's been addicted to me, bro. Or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's about like what It's like, oh, or like, like you're completely loyal to this tribe. You love it. You want everything that's good for it. You're just down there. You hear, the coup. The coup, he ousts them type of deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's information.
There's a perfect example of what you're saying, right? There was this guy named Big Tom at that African one I was telling you about, and they had to get that nasty water.
Yeah.
And, they say you got to boil it before you can drink it. And the guy, Tom, he's from, he's this Georgia boy. He's a country boy. He's like, there's a reason they tell you, you got to boil it before you can drink it. And, he ends up following the stream all the way up and sees like it's this elephant basically camp, and they stay there every day and they just shit on the upstream of the water that comes down. So the water's technically clear river water, but it's got shit in it.
Yeah.
So you got to boil out whatever that put in it.
Parasites, all of it.
So there's this one lady there, this older lady that keeps bathing in it. Like she's got this wash rag and she's grabbing it and she's like brushing all herself. And like in episode 2, Tom comes to her and he's like, look, I followed the stream up there and there's elephants up there. They shit in the water and this is all dirty water. Like you shouldn't clean with that. And she just keeps doing it, So like every other episode, it'll show him again. He's like, her name was like KJ, Kim Johnson or something.
Yeah.
He's like, Kim Johnson, still bathing in elephant shit water. I told her I followed the stream. I told her go follow the stream herself and see what I'm talking about. She won't. She continues to bathe in it, so I'm not saying anything anymore. It's like exactly what you're talking about. Like, bro, I went up that stream.
Yeah.
The elephants are shitting in that water, bro. Don't bathe in it. It's like, and you just do it again.
Exactly.
Or if you hear that though, right? I tell you that. You at least gotta prove I'm wrong before you do it again, right?
Exactly.
You at least gotta go up there and check the stream,
especially if we're in a tribe.
Right.
But then
it's like, well, if there's nobody around, right? You got to be on next level thinking. Then I'm just going like, what? That's a setup. I go to the end of the stream and they all got spears waiting for me in a circle formation away from the rest of the village. Say I got attacked. You know what I mean? Like, you can't trust nobody too. Like, even though like back then, I feel like there's no such thing as trust. Like, there's not even a friend. Like you're talking about like maybe when there's like a million people on the planet, you
I
know?
mean, people would do
Like
some crazy.
there's like a million people on the planet. How could I call somebody my best friend? I think I should be very careful. There might not be a best friend on this planet. You know
Especially
what
when
I
you're like
mean?
in
That
a,
I can reach.
especially when you're in a place where like it's like this murder will never come back to me. Like literally,
Exactly.
this would never ever.
They,
I could get
dude,
away with this. It's
dude,
just 100.
they
percent
don't even have a language to ask me what happened. I'm gonna stone this dude.
Fell.
And you fuck his wife that
It's
night.
from the
You fuck his
sky.
girl.
No, someone. That's how God started, bro. They were like, it's from the sky. The rock just fell on them out of nowhere, and it was like God just smited this individual.
They just take off in circles. There's like
Smited this guy.
trying to shake. You know what I mean? Like how you do with the raindrops. It's like
Yeah, I mean, like
anything can be true.
I mean, like even when you think you're the guy in power, there's been betrayals. I mean, like classic Caesar, bro.
Right.
8 dudes.
Yeah.
Where it's like, bro.
But here's one thing that I don't even know, like, bless you, what the scientific explanation is, right? Okay, so you have a caveman. You have the first caveman. And he doesn't have a language or nothing, right? But he knows to drink water. Like, what is that in your brain?
So
And you know what I'm talking about, though? It like almost takes you there.
So that's what they would say is just instinct.
Human instinct.
What is this? This instinct period. All animals have instinct,
right.
to
what is that,
to get
Steven?
their needs.
Steven, what is that?
So what they say is that with life period, always wants to exist and continue on. That's why they say we have like evolution. So I mean, I imagine just over long periods of time of humans, existing in that if they say we do come from apes, like they say, animals just as some die from dehydration, the ones that survive drink, and we pass that knowledge on in our genetic code and
You're
our
right.
genes.
Now that I'm thinking about it, you would easily observe another animal drinking from the water, and that would go bang and bang, right? So I got to go back.
If not, you die.
So I have to go back to the first animal that needed water on first mammal, right?
Yeah. So
first mammal that needed water.
So from what
how does it know to go to water and drink it?
What what I would say is what you're taught in school and what they was like common academia.
Impressive.
They say that like with the water being on this planet, the first life on a liquid planet would happen from from deep sea, like volcanoes, pretty much, where these funnels come up and they're super hot, and they exude a lot of like minerals, like iron, sulfur, shit like that.
Yeah.
And then the mixture of these things, those types of minerals, all the minerals for life, would then mix in like a soup, like a really hot soup. I mean, like you need warmth, you need water, so then you start getting like these types of like cells.
Yeah, you're
and,
way before me now.
Like
you're way before me now. Yeah, you're talking about organisms that formed on rocks.
But as those things,
I'm talking about legs. I'm talking about things with legs.
Yeah, but as those things exist in the water, I assume that they came together, eventually evolving to something that could go on land.
But just like
something that wouldn't need to live in water, then you got to drink water. I don't know.
You don't have to teach someone, right?
Think of it as
but you put a man and a woman together. You don't have to teach them about sex for them to have sex, right? Like you just kind of know what to do with your dick.
Yeah,
it's weird, right? It's like
what they would chalk it up to,
And to me,
what is that?
To me personally, like what is that? To me, it's a sync with the planet. It's like the planet telling you what you need to survive and thrive.
But think about it as well. The ones who just didn't have that wouldn't procreate and wouldn't pass on that bad information. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things necessary for survival are passed on because we survived. The ones that didn't follow or do that necessary thing, they didn't pass that bad information on.
What
so
happens if the first species doesn't drink any water and dies of dehydration?
Extinction.
Then we never start out. We gotta wait again for another.
Plenty of species go extinct. Plenty of species go extinct, and life just happens to find a way.
It's because they can't find water,
not
because they don't want it.
It's the saying.
Why is it that everything needs water?
I mean, they just say it's one of the. I mean, they say it's one of the many building blocks for life. I mean, You know, from what we know, this is what we observe in our planet that has
Why is
life.
there a building
So,
block for life? You know, a building block for life. Like, what the hell?
but that's only from what we know
Right,
because this is what we
right.
have here.
That's how we were
We haven't
formed.
seen life anywhere else. So from what we know that there's water on Mars, but like we don't have any other like news of life on Venus or something. You
I
know,
hope we do so much, don't you? Like, I
a
just
hundred
hope we get to
percent,
meet an
bro.
alien before we
A
die,
hundred percent,
bro.
bro. Come
That'd be
on,
so
please.
cool, dude.
Like, come
That'd
on,
be
like
so cool.
I just
You
like,
know
bro,
what?
bro. You,
The funny thing is that I know how to reach aliens here.
know how to reach aliens here? What do you
Yeah.
mean?
10 grams of shrooms, bro. And I mean, you're there. You know what I mean? You're in depth. You can tap into shit. I swear by it.
Yeah,
You
I
can
mean,
tap. I mean, you take some DMT. They say you talk to. I mean, I haven't done it, but they say you talk to aliens. You talk to God's
like
entities.
there has to be
Ayahuasca.
something. If you're, I mean, like if people want to sit here and think that, like, oh, it's like, oh, math and numbers, or that's just a natural thing, and like, oh, that's cool, that's crazy, whatever, like, and they just shake that off. Like, if you want to like like believe that's crazy and cool, like, I mean, like if that's really a thing, like, how are aliens really so far fetched? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just like, okay, I'll believe the world's made of numbers and you can find numbers anywhere.
Yeah.
Aliens is fucking crazy, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, or life even being able to exist in other mediums. There might be life in fucking Jupiter, bro. There might be something flying around Jupiter just chilling, you know, like surviving.
I don't
I don't
care.
fucking know.
I don't care if it's true or not. If I meet a human who says it's probably not true, I don't want to hang
Bro.
with you.
Bro, I think one of the single hand like crazy things is that like if we ever do see aliens, is if we meet aliens and it's just humans that were like farther. Like life evolved the
Right.
same way somewhere
Yeah.
else, and you're just like, so like, because like when I think about life, it's really just an experiment until it gets something right, and then whatever gets it right continues to pass it on and continue to live. I mean, the saying, the classic saying, life finds a way. So if that was the case, and let's say that we Earth is the only place where life would be able to exist in that type of environment.
Hmm.
If we say that, would life evolve the same way with the same
Bro,
ingredients?
so if you want to know that, you should check those Stanford lectures that I was sending you about behavior genetics, bro. Because that guy on there, yo, is literally like, well, I feel like one of the most smartest people I ever seen speak, yo. Like he's just a professor, bro. But like you could tell he's like one of the best professors in the world, I feel like. And he shows a lot of things like that. He explains a lot of things throughout. He does it so beautiful, bro. Like I almost want to listen to him on some psychedelics. But he speaks about like how, like, just for example, like National Geographic. They will lie and construe certain camera angles to benefit the viewer,
Yeah.
So like oftentimes they're showed like caribou that'll go across, these rivers,
Hmm.
and they're show like the oldest caribou will go towards the alligators on purpose. And from the camera angle, they're show, this caribou, this oldest caribou they know somebody's gonna die because it's alligator infested river and they gotta cross it. They know someone's going to die, so the oldest go up and allow this alligator to eat them. And, so the rest of them can go.
Yeah.
This was believed for a long time, and you would have to watch the video to learn each theory as it went on, but he goes through how they were trying to explain, like, human instinct per se, or like animal instinct, like
Okay.
from
Okay.
the
Huh.
beginning of time
Yeah.
to what it is now. So then he's like, well, for a long time, we believe that like basically like that species is always going to do whatever is beneficial for its whole entire to survive. So I'll get bigger into that, right? But just on this note, eventually they realized that if you watch this caribou, these senior caribou, they're being followed behind them by the biggest caribou. They're forcing them to the alligators as sacrifices to get across this river. Those senior caribou don't want to die any more than anybody else wants to die. They're being sacrificed by the group, is what eventually was come to find. So he starts trying to explain these genetic patterns on like what you would do. And it's shit that I've never thought about before, right? So, like, one thing would be like, you don't think about it like this because this is where humans are at, but like, it would actually be beneficial for me, right? Let's say you're LeBron James, right?
Okay.
It's beneficial for me to convince you that my sister is hot. that you should breed and have sex with my sister. That's beneficial for my species, for my genetic code of me and my sister's genetic code. You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I never thought about like that before. Humans don't like that. We don't want nobody with our sisters, you know? But as far as that goes, they try to expand that as far as it can go because you want your genetic, there's something inside of you that wants your species to live on.
Right.
No matter what, you want to find a way for your species to live on. So you want to try and breed the most attractive offspring. That's why like we have different ways as human, but when you look throughout animal culture, they all have something, right?
Yeah.
Like, a turkey might have like, it's about feathers, like the prettiest feathers.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
there's a different one.
I mean,
it's
some
like,
birds and animals even have mating dances.
yeah, exactly. Or they bring they bring them worms to show them that they can, they can hunt and shit like that. Humans have different things, but we all have a thing, to show that we're powerful.
Yeah.
That you should mate with us, right? Because you want the best mating with the best, as you were saying previously. That's what you want to get better and better and create stronger and stronger. But as it goes, we're the only species on the planet that has ego, where we do things for the good of human. Where every other thing, it does it for the good of the species. It really does. Like, obviously, those caribou still don't want to die. But if it was up to them for them to die or their youth to die, 9 times out of 10 they're going to protect their youth. You see, like you see certain animals that leave their young and they're let them die, but then you see certain ones that defend their young.
Exactly.
So, like a bald eagle.
Yeah.
Like you come with that bald, you're dead. You come with that bald eagle nest, you're dead, bro.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. And then you see other ones, turtles. It's like, hey, I might not survive having you. So you better crack open and get out there and get it. And those turtles just know.
And that's the thing, like
it's weird, bro.
And that's the thing, man. Especially with that, it's like turtles. They have huge they have huge births because something like it's like 9 out of the 100 actually make it or some shit. It's like some crazy.
Hopefully, over time, rats have
have
less birth. Like we need less of them, so hopefully that'll come.
And that's the one thing with like rats. One thing that they do is like they're able to mate and get pregnant, in super short.
Yeah, 4 times a year. 10 babies, 20 babies at a time.
Exactly. Yeah.
The funny thing is that like people think like
that's what rodents do.
Humans like to worry about life on Earth. Don't worry about life on Earth. Worry about human life on Earth. You know what I mean? We're gonna be the ones that disappear. Life's gonna be here.
Yeah.
Life found a way to adapt. Been watching a lot of documentaries on the marine trench, Mariana Trench.
Yeah.
And there's an animal that has now developed itself to eat driftwood. The bottom of the floor, bro. It's a shrimp-like parasite that's translucent.
Okay,
and it breaks down driftwood, and it's able to break it down with chemicals to create other chemicals for it to use as fuel.
Interesting.
Incredible, right?
Yeah.
It never did that before until we started putting wood into the ocean. And it adapted to figure out how to survive down there, It really is funny. I know everybody says it, but it's like really is funny how little they know about the area.
Yeah.
And when you see like how certain animals, like there's a lot of things down there that they've all kind of adapted. And then obviously each ones have adapted other ways. But like one thing that they've all adapted is like even the smallest animals down there have huge jaw strength, bro, because they need to be able to eat any substance possible because there's just not much down there.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I would say that, like, deep ocean, that would probably give us one of our best ideas into early life, because I think what you're seeing is that, like, you're having an environment that undergoes very little change. So I think what you're seeing a lot of times, you're seeing these animals that, because of what that area is, it's probably already evolved and adapted in such a way to where it's just perfect for living down here.
Right.
Like evolution's kind of like halted, and whatnot. There's so little change down there.
Here's the thought that I have when I write is like, so put a human mind in any species on Earth, right? So it can be a fucking giraffe if you want.
Okay.
Right. And then that's another point he makes. That's great. That man is a genius, bro. I'm serious. So let's put a giraffe on Mars, right? And they have a great economy. They're doing great, just like us. A giraffe, and they got a human mind.
A good giraffe economy.
A giraffe with a human mind. They got a great Ryan giraffe,
economy.
And we find out that they're there. We first find them. bro,
draft
we'd
for
be
human brain.
mind blown, right? We would have found aliens, right?
Yeah.
We'd be like, how the fuck is that thing even formed like that? But it's right here on Earth. And you can do that for
Yeah.
1,000
Bro,
things on Earth,
I've said
bro.
I've said it before. Where
Aliens
like,
are already here.
bro, that's the thing I've said before. Where like, you know, you look around to some of these organisms on Earth, bro. The aliens are already fucking here, bro.
Well, remember before I
Yeah.
was calling them Pokemon because that's
Yeah.
how I kind of see
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
You know, like a
I mean, but, like,
porcupine,
you know, I mean, like,
electric eel.
literally aliens,
Dude,
bro. I
giant
mean, bro,
squid. Giant
even,
squid's
bro,
an alien.
even a
Octopus is
fucking-
a legit
even
alien.
a fucking alligator, bro. Alligators, crocodiles, sharks, fucking dolphins. How they like you see when they cut through that water and shit, just like
I think they should make it to where you
fucking
can't eat
crazy. Like,
octopuses.
you look at you look at a fucking dolphin, and you're just like, that thing's on fire. You look at some of these insects, bro. You look at a fucking millipede. That's a fucking what?
You ever seen octopus hunting?
Octopus hunting. I mean, no.
Went down a sick fucking path of it one time, bro, and it's sick, dude. They hide in like the top of these kind of coral reef canals, like these little things. So they go down there snorkeling and they just have like these spears and they just poke the fuck out of it until it inks up, basically, and it comes out of there and they capture it and kill it. You know?
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, dude, you could have got a fish so much easier.
Yeah.
Why are you all the way down here chasing this octopus, dude? Like,
Yeah.
doesn't even make sense, you know?
Yeah, I don't like to eat octopus. I like seafood. You not like seafood, bro.
Yeah, I
I
don't
like
think
octopus, bro. Octopus is crazy, man. I think octopus. I'm just like, bro, they're so fucking intelligent, bro.
that's what I'm saying.
That's like you're asking me. It's like, would you eat a dolphin? You know they're smart, but you would probably want to eat a dolphin.
I wouldn't eat a
I
dolphin.
don't want to eat
What?
octopus, bro.
It's funny though, like
But
why?
octopus is good. I had
You
it
would
before.
think they tried to eat
I don't wanna
elephant
eat it,
before,
though.
right?
I believe they tried
Must
to eat
not have
every
been good.
animal.
Must not have been good.
Yeah,
Because you would think an elephant
well,
would have
bro,
great
you're gonna eat
amounts of
whatever you
food
want.
source.
You're gonna eat whatever you want and need. You know, I was actually talking to someone about earlier. You know, we're like, you know, humans are opportunistic feeders. You know, even though we can hunt and stuff like that, you know, so do hyenas go and hunt, but we're still opportunistic. We'll eat
We can't
whatever's
store
available
we
to
can't
us, bro.
store food in our body for a
Well,
long time.
We'll eat whatever is available, bro.
We're hungry every 12 hours, dude. A lot of animals can eat to where they're good for 72 hours.
Yeah.
We
yeah,
can't do that. We have
Yeah.
to eat every day.
Yeah.
There's animals that don't eat every day, bro.
Exactly, man. And like, you know, we're opportunistic. We'll eat whatever's there. So, you know, I mean, like, you know, one thing that, like, you know, I talked about before, where like, you know, with like, you know, the Chinese, you know, people think, you know, like, oh my God, the Chinese eat such weird things.
It's what's available to them.
But you know, like I said, like before, like in the 50s and 60s, based off what the government had did, there was a huge famine. You know,
Right.
Farmers weren't producing food, and so what they did, they lifted a lot of restrictions on like their markets and like what you're allowed to, you know, eat and hunt. And that's why you see them eat a bunch of weird shit, because they were eating what, and that's a cultural thing where it's like, okay, well, my parents ate this, my parents ate this, my parents ate this. Well, okay, well, now this is why you got this weird shit in the market, because well, my parents ate it because they were in a fucking famine, bro.
So listen to this, right? So this is the best examples I can give, because it really is true human experiment. Like I'm saying with Survivor, bro.
Yeah.
But the time I'm telling you, when they didn't eat for 11 days, so they go to a challenge, and the fucking reward is snorkeling and fish spearing equipment, basically. You know, the fins, spear, everything you need. Yo, so they go out the first day with this man and this woman. And the woman tries to spear a fish, bro, and drops it and loses it at the bottom, yo. After the 11 days of no food, yo. So they're like, they thought they were going to get food no problem with that thing. It's like this long ass spear,
well,
you know?
Lost it.
They lost it, bro. So they go a whole nother day. So at this point, they're on the 12th day. And there's like 7 people. None of them ate, yo. And they go out and they're fishing, but they keep catching puffer fish. And you can't eat those, you know? You
Yeah.
actually can eat those, I learned. But you have to, it's a
Maybe
Japanese way of
yeah.
certain doing it, right?
Yeah.
And the one guy I was telling you about that wins all them damn challenges, he catches a fish, bro, this big. And he brings it back to 8 people, yo, and you've never seen people so happy. They do not care, bro, because they haven't had any protein, dude. Just one, just give me one, but I'll suck a dick. You know what I mean? For a flake of that fish right now. Yo, people don't know how hard starvation would get. Bro, you think kicking, you know, cracks hard?
Bro.
Starving, dude.
Bro, like, yo,
11 days.
Try and do a
fast.
Try and do an 8-hour
3-day.
Try and do an 8-hour fast, bro. You'll be starving, bro. You know, like literally, you do a 16-hour fast, bro. you'll be fucking starving and ready to break after the 11th hour, bro.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. We suck.
Imagine 3
We're so
days.
weak, and
Imagine 3 fucking
we are
days,
so
man.
weak on this planet, bro.
And like I said, humans are opportunistic. They'll eat whatever they can get a hold of. Well, guess what? The Japanese they didn't have much good land for fucking farming. They had a bunch of sea everywhere. We figured out how to fucking cook the puffer fish.
You know what
You
I'm
know?
always amazed by is like animals in the wild. They don't like when they get hurt, they show no pain. You know? What is that makes them capable to do that?
I mean, like
It's
what
just
animal do you know? 'Cause I mean, like you hit a dolphin, you hit any animal.
so like a gorilla. A gorilla's in a fight with an animal and it gets, a huge gash in his shoulder. It'll never cry about that.
Well, the adrenaline and stuff. But I think they're still definitely in pain. But like,
But they don't show it while they're in the fight. They're not going to show that to you. A human's going to respond.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Half my shoulder gets cut off. I'm responding to that. You know what I mean? They have this ability.
I think maybe in today's world, but back then when you were getting your shoulder when people were getting their shoulders lacerated left and right by crazy animals, I'm sure it was just like. It was like, oh, we were making prayer. Okay, gone.
It's so weird when like you see something some way and like you can't really get it through to people. And that's like one thing I've been having with like the mangled human thing I'll always tell you about. I'm just like, man, it's so crazy. Like, how do I get someone to look at a mangled human the way they look at a 3-legged dog? You look at a 3-legged dog and they're like, oh my God, man, that sucks for that dog. But we look at like one person with one leg and we're just like, figure it out. You know what I mean? You better go to work. You know what I mean? We're so sympathetic to anything else that's mangled like that.
Yeah.
But when humans are mangled, like even our army vets, they don't treat right.
No.
You know, like you got 2 arms lost. It's like, here's a $400 disability check.
Yep. It's real shit, bro.
Just think about that. It says something, right? Like, like there's something to those like old ancient warriors, Rome warriors and shit. You got scars all over your fucking face from your battles, bro. You ever see those fencers that Joe showed the one time?
Yeah,
that was crazy, right?
Bro.
They would wear no mask
do,
because it was a badge of honor.
And then they would stick a bunch of fucking straw and hay
do it
in
to
there
themselves
to make it more accented.
Yeah.
Or stick a bunch of straw and shit in there, just fucking. That was a big thing amongst those Nazi
Let's get my little spire.
The Nazi what do they call it? Like, they were Nazi scholars. That was a big thing in those schools, where like it was just I remember you showed the pictures where they were all cut the fuck up, bro. Everywhere they cut they took pictures of the fresh cuts. They were all cut the fuck up.
Yeah.
They only had eye guards.
Yep. You know what I was thinking? Like if I had that Elon Jeff Bezos money, I don't even need that much, really just like 100 billion. Dude, I don't know why nobody's done it because you could literally do it so easily. Like I would love to buy the UFC and just like put on my own fantasy fights. Like just buy like an Epstein Island, not an Epstein Island, obviously, but like a Jamaican island or something out there and just put on like literally Mortal Kombat style fights.
Bro, I'll start a country, bro. I'll start a fucking country.
Bro, that's what Jeff Bezos doing.
He wants to buy Cyprus. He wants to buy Cyprus, bro.
When do we stop this?
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying.
But damn, I do want 24-hour shipping. That's what it is, right? That's what it is. It's like,
well, like you could sell, like they're saying that, like she could sell, like he could make his own laws for his own country, and then he could use money in favor to try and get other countries to treat his country like they do in the European Union, get free border access. Okay, well now now he can sell some passports,
brother. He's gonna get a central bank in that motherfucker.
He has, bro. He makes more money than
bank.
most countries.
Yeah,
he could fund his own country.
That's what's crazy to me, though. Like Elon's value is based off of his stock price. That's so weird. It's like he doesn't really even have that money.
But he has those stock holdings.
But he also wouldn't be able to sell all of those tomorrow.
Well, if he wanted to get out of the company,
he couldn't sell all of them in one day.
Yeah.
No, he would have to set it up for a month to sell that many shares, bro.
Would really buy his, like Jeff Bezos just come up and be like, "Here, bro, I'll fucking buy that."
No way, bro. That would take it. He might do that, but it would take months to go through with that full deal and everything. You know what I'm saying?
But if he wanted to get out and get rid of his shares, he could. It'd be stupid of him.
So for him to prove, but I'm saying, like, do these people even have proof of funds? Like, they don't really have proof of funds, yo. It's more the Fugazi we keep talking about, yo. Like, listen, the money money that they're saying they have doesn't exist, and the money there they can't even prove they have.
I'm still watching the video that you sent us about that 1 hour long video.
Crazy, ain't it?
So, why did Nixon get rid of the gold standard in the 70s? Well, because everyone started suspecting, just like we're doing now, what we've always been doing, is that hey, we're just like the goldsmiths did. We're gonna print more than what is actually there.
They were actually expecting a lot of countries to be doing that at the time, right after World War II. Right, that's why I was saying it all became after that agreement, because that agreement came from that. A lot of countries were going through financial issues after World War II, and they were printing money along with America, but other countries. So after that, they all joined up in that agreement. I always forget what it's called. Bretton Woods Agreement. Yeah. And when they made that, they were like, okay, well, what is the most firm guaranteed backing of monetary value? And it was the dollar at the time.
Well, the dollar was the strongest currency.
It was perceived to be.
But see, this is the thing. Like, after World War II, pretty much the whole world was pretty much in tatters. Any of the ones with any type of sustainable, strong economies or currency systems were fucking destroyed, and their governments were in turmoils. So, a lot of them agreed because they needed this money. They needed this type of backing. They needed this type of thing and support. Okay, we'll trade everything in the dollar because the American dollar is the most secure currency in the world at the time, So, like, a lot. So I think a lot of the issues and things that we have with this country today stem from we sought to be a power in the world, but no one ever thought that everyone else in the world would be destroyed, and then America would just be in the perfect position to come in and just run shit from there.
Well, there's 1,000 things with it, right? Number one being, we've never operated at a surplus. Every year that this country ever existed, we've operated at a deficit, right? So you're only adding on to a further deficit at that. But the funny thing is about how they were just saying, like, they had already agreed basically that they can't go back to a gold standard. So they manipulate the price of gold and silver. If you watch the full video, that's what they're saying is like they purposely keep gold. I don't know if you've seen, but this was a big thing about 5 years ago with chicken prices. Do you remember this, right?
Yeah.
They were believing that, like, and it was true that these chicken companies were all coming into a collusion, basically, of like, look, if we just allow this much chicken at a certain time, it'll always, same thing with a stock. Yeah. We only allow this amount of stock, it's always going to be worth at least this amount.
Exactly, yeah.
So they did the same exact thing with that, basically, of like, look, we're never going to allow enough gold to exceed what the dollar would be worth. We're never going to do that. We're never going to have silver because you would lean towards that. And that's actually another thing I was learning I want to talk to you about. You know who else does that? Was suspected of doing that? Comcast and Verizon, bro. And that's why I'll never be able to get Verizon here, because here's the thing, right? We talked about before with Rothschild in the oil. They don't allow monopolies in America.
Yep.
Right? So you got to be able to hide it. So you just go to your competitor and be like, look, you're worth 20 billion. I'm worth 40 billion. We both can be happy. You stay there. I'll stay here. They'll never even know. Really, we're both operating together
and making crazy.
But it looks at it different.
Yep,
we monopolize the market through agreement.
100%. And this is what the thing I always find crazy. That, like, you look in the city and you're just like, all right, where's my internet provider? Okay, well, I could go Verizon. I don't have Fios here. It's only DSL. It's actually really shitty internet. It's terrible. I had it before. So I was trying to get away from Comcast. Shit. Never do it. Now I'm looking at any other option. All of them really none. No options.
It's just Comcast.
So had to suck Comcast's dick and get Comcast again.
And here's what I was thinking about with everything, right? You got no other option on electricity, right? But these things don't bother people, bro. And it's like, I can't get them to care, right? So you got no other option you got to do PG&E or you won't get electricity to your house. And then I was thinking about, Steve, what about this, bro? You do a funding round. You need billions. I need bills. You do a funding round for a private water lines, right? Because there is no water company. It's always just the state and shit, right? So now we got to figure out a way for us to be able to, I could say, look, I'll monopolize this spring, right? I got a 500,000 million, whatever, bajillion gallon spring of fresh natural water. Instead of, I'm going to purchase that instead of Nestle or Deer Park purchasing that. Then I'm going to custom lines of however I see fit to your home secured and insured by my company if something goes wrong. I'll make sure it's far enough away from your government, water lines, and I
See,
will provide fresh
see,
water
and
through
this
your
is
hose.
and this is why we don't have FiOS in the city, because Baltimore City wanted to charge them a certain amount per foot of digging to bury these FiOS lines. They wanted to charge them for that. Cities would come to you and just be like, okay, we'll let you dig, you do your little thing. $80 per foot, or some crazy shit, just
Uh-huh.
some ridiculous
You think
shit,
it was that?
you know.
You think it was
What
that?
FiOS?
Maybe it wasn't
What
that though,
FiOS?
right? Maybe I wasn't that right
I had
because
a, I know
because
I got a guy. I got a guy in Verizon.
okay, well I don't know if your guy, that's what I'm saying about the hidden thing. It's like, but what if, dude, you're the CEO of Comcast and I'm the CEO of Verizon, right? And we get together and we talk, and you're like, all right, Baltimore, we got a huge market there. I see, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Let's say you're Comcast and I'm talking to you, and I'm like, hey, I see you're already all set up through Baltimore City. So why don't you just go ahead and have that? And I'll take Baltimore County. I'll take 90% of Baltimore County, and you can have 10% of Baltimore County and whatever, 70% of Baltimore City or something, and that
Yeah,
agreement's
yeah.
made. Okay, so bam, we shake head. That's good for both of us, right? Bam, we get that done. I still got to make an excuse of why I don't provide Baltimore City my Verizon, right? So why am I ever going to say it's because my company can't do it? No, boy. I'm going to say it's a Baltimore. Sorry, Baltimore citizens, your leaders wouldn't allow it. That's what I'm going to say. Like, I'm not saying that that's true,
Yeah,
but you get what I'm saying? I'm always going to protect my image.
see, because I don't know, because it's like, like as Comcast, it's like the one thing that, like, I do have in my favor against what you're trying to do at FiOS and Verizon is that, my infrastructure already exists. I send internet over phone lines to your shit. It's just high speed internet, super high speeds over phone lines. It's already there. So I mean, like, you with FiOS, you have to go dig in all this shit from a service center. You have to, like, that wire has to run underground to a service center.
Right.
So I
But
mean,
no
like,
matter what, there's a market for you because people
but
hate Comcast,
at the
bro.
end of the day,
Dude, people hate Comcast.
oh, 100%, 100%, 100%, bro.
They would, if you build it, we'll take
But
it
it's just not available in some areas. And for me, it's also one of
because
my
it's agreed
biggest,
upon.
and that's one of my biggest advantages over top of you for FiOS. Where it's like, okay, it's like, well, yeah, we are working together on some levels, to make sure we're not considered monopolies. But I'm still hitting you here and hitting you there because I'm still your competitor.
And you are, dog. And you got your 20 bill, and I got my 10. See you later, dog. Thanks for the hits. Hey, it was already your market. I'm just getting a pie. You know what I mean? Slice
Yeah.
of the pie, baby.
And that's the thing, Verizon still operates their DSL version, but they
Listen,
want people to buy their FiOS.
basically what I'm saying is no matter what, Comcast should listen.
We're working together.
Comcast should monopolize the market. They have the power to, right? To monopolize the whole entire market, but I can't.
You can't. No.
So I make $100 billion a year, let's just say. I'll be anybody who says here's $10 billion a year just to basically say I'm not a monopoly. And I'll just create, I don't care if it's shitty, good, whatever. You pay me $10 billion just as I'm basically you're my parent company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And at this point, when we both go to legislation and we're trying to, get these laws made in our favor, we both are sending our lobbyists to do the same
We got
job.
so much money.
The same fucking
We
job.
want half on a lobbyist, dude.
So at this
we
point,
want half on 2 lobbyists.
At this point, it's like, okay, we get into something where it's like, okay, we gotta break up the fucking internet companies, the Comcast, the FiOS. We gotta break them up. Well, I'm just gonna we're come together and we're gonna fight the same cause, because any legislation that regulates me also affects you, and we're just gonna lobby against that shit, bro. But
how does a lawyer kiss his daughter on the forehead at night knowing that he got a murderer off?
How is it that we're able to what? They got someone off for murder?
Yeah, like how does a man hold his head high, right? Like you're making money, but the person did the crime and you got him off. Like, how is it that you're happy with yourself, man?
See, I mean,
I do not get that.
They're psychopaths, they're sociopaths, and they're just people who just, I don't know what to say other than like they got it wrong.
It's crazy because like you got enough money to buy a celebrity whore or something
with like lawyers,
but you don't got enough money to buy
especially as
a family.
a criminal defense lawyer. Like, like depending on who you are, you're just like kind of like in the middle ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you're working for some big firm,
Yeah, like the dude who got Zimmerman off. Like, I'm sure he got $1 million for that case.
Oh yeah, you got plenty of money.
How you sleep at night, dude?
I mean, some people
Casey
were
Anthony.
behind Zimmerman. You know what I'm saying? So I
Casey
mean,
Anthony.
they just believe that what
Nobody
they're
was
doing is
behind
right.
Casey
You
Anthony.
know? That's true. Yeah.
Got her off. How you sleep at night, bro? You got a fucking kid murderer off.
Like I said, man, they're crazy people out there, man. The people kill for $20.
I just think those people go to sleep sad at night, bro.
I think those people feel relatively numb. They don't feel much, and all they feel is when they probably win a case, and then they just go home and they feel like shit. You know what I
And
mean?
it's like to the next thrill. I
I
wonder. I always think about like I'm like,
When they
man.
bang up their fucking nose,
I'm like
it
that
doesn't
man
matter
could be
about defense.
that criminal defense attorney could be worth $5 million, bro. And I'm like, I bet if I hang around with his kids, they'll like me more than him.
And once you get to that earnings lifestyle, it's like, well, at this point, I'll do whatever I can to maintain that lifestyle.
But you're just not cool though. Like it's just not cool.
I try to defend these guys, man. But
that's why I was talking to a guy at work earlier about how like you can know the job and not be a leader still. Like there's people at my job, they know the trade, they're really good at it, but they can't work with people. They can't delegate roles and shit. It's like that's just because you're good at something doesn't mean you can run a team.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And I mean that's the one thing I'm like, I think I'm gonna be like, kind of like thrusted into at work. It's like, I mean, the person right there, it's like now I'm like, I know the most in the shop, and I'm gonna be expected to do that type of thing. And I think it's gonna be a great test for me. See if I can really kind of like, delegate people. I'm already good with people and work well with people and whatnot. It's the delegation part of it, you know what I'm saying? Actually,
well, also once you do it, you do it more and more, you kind of learn how to word things correctly too. You know what I mean? Like I also I try to think like, do I really need to ask this person for this? Is this something? Well, I'll be there later and I can just do it. I might be like, oh shit, I left my tape measure in the truck, but I already know I got to go out there and get the caulk that I want, and I'm gonna cut my tube, and I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. So I can just grab that while I'm there. So I'm not gonna ask them for that, you know. And then of course you always got little things like when you're just asking them for something simple, you always say just. I noticed that about myself. Where I'm like, hey, can you just grab the almond? Because I'm only asking you for one thing, so I'm always like, can you just? It's like it makes it seem small. You're like, hey, can you just grab that almond? I got everything else.
Yeah, it's actually I think there's like a psychological trick behind it.
Oh, there's a lot of psychological tricks I can tell you about. Just like the one I was teaching Brian. Where it's like, hey, where you want to choose where to land, guys. It's like, I thought you were the leader. Like, well, that's what I've got leading, so I know that you delegate these small things to your fellow members to make them feel like they have decisions, and that they're a part of the tribe. It's a classic tale of say you're a rich person and you live next to a poor person. You go over to that person, right? You go over to that neighbor and you ask them for sugar, right? And they give you some sugar. You do that so you open that line of communication. So if that person needs something, they're comfortable asking you. You asked for something you know you had. You had plenty of sugar.
Yeah.
But just so you know, I came to you because I need you too. You do little things like this that you learn after delegating and leading, for so long. You learn like better ways to do it and how certain people respond. And you got to learn everybody individually too, where it's like, all right, maybe this person responds to firing them up. And maybe this person's kind of a person where it's like, oh, they're already beating herself up. They kind of need a little motivation or something. You learn people differently and you get better as it goes and you fuck up too,
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And, like, that's the thing. Like, I never viewed myself that type of thing, but, I also think that, like, I'm good and can be really good at a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've never been in that type of role, but I've always been confident that I can learn to do anything, and I can always figure it out.
Well, the one thing is you're a nice and you're a cool guy, so people always try to take advantage of that. Like it's one thing to tell people to do something, and that's nothing for them to do it. That's why like people don't understand things from a boss perspective. Where like when you see it as a worker perspective, you're like, I got it done. And you see it as a boss perspective, you're like, well, you didn't get it done good though. I gave it to you because I thought you were going to do a good job with it. I thought you were going to, sort all that shit alphabetically. Instead, you just sorted it, so whatever it may be, it's like you delegate these things to people and you expect them to do good at it. And the worst problem is when they don't do it. You know, so like that, I had to have a talk with one of my helpers. You know, at this point, I've worked with many people, and I had to talk to one of my helpers where it's like, we're he didn't want to. He had a problem with another helper that we were on a job with. So we needed both of them to do a specific task, and he didn't want to do it with them. So he's doing another thing I need done. I do need these, windows hacked out, but we asked him to go upstairs and work on these other windows, and he just didn't do it. And I'm like, man, I feel like at this point we just got such a good relationship. He thinks like, hey, you looking working, but I'm like, I gotta take, and it's weird because I'm 26 years old, maybe 27, but
Yeah.
26 years old, bro, and I'm pulling a 35-year-old man to the side. It's weird,
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
trust
weird
me, bro.
thing. Like
Trust me, yeah.
it feels weird being
Uh-huh.
like this young because I know like he knows, my age, and we can obviously tell this man's been alive longer than me by a decade,
Mhm.
I pull him to the side. I'm just like, you know, I need you to do what I ask you to do. You try to say it correctly, where it's like, look, I'm going to do the hardest thing. I'm going to take care of that. I need you to help him with this. I know you guys got that issue, but we're here to get this done. And that's what you guys need to do right now. As soon as you get done that, you can hop on this with me, and you just try to explain it. And then
Yeah, 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 yeah.
from there, if you don't want to do it, then you got to go.
Yep.
Because at this point, I'm never going to ask somebody. That's why I like people like Elon so much, where like Tesla gets a lot of bad things, but if you look at like Tesla's responses to like injuries in the factory and shit, he gets like high reviews among CEOs and shit because he said like, I'll talk to everybody that was injured individually, and I also will participate do their job,
Yeah.
and make sure that their job is safe for a day, shit like that. Being able to take that initiative and being like, I'm always going to do the hardest thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yep.
I'm always gonna. I don't want my employees working harder than me. As you don't.
No.
You want your employees working harder than you when you retire, not while
Yeah.
you're the boss. You got to lead by example.
And that's the thing that especially with like a lot of people that I work with, there'll be stuff there to do. There'll be like some of the more difficult things. It's like whether it's like especially like with that like with what you do and what I do, with like when you're doing stuff like that, I mean when you can actually fuck something up and cost a lot of money.
Mhm.
So I mean like me personally, it's like I'd say I don't give a shit and I don't care a lot, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna do good work.
Right.
I'm not gonna do bad work. I'm not gonna do shitty work. So when I see people do shitty work, working too, I mean, I'm not the manager there, but there is a manager there, and he's a cool dude like me. He's pretty laid back. I remember there's this one job. It's it got messed up. It was his fault. And I remember he was trying to like cover real quick. I'm just like, bro, this is a big fuck up, bro. We cannot cover this one up. Like this is like first of all, this is if it being fucked up is you kind of just send it like that, and they can just always come back. And it's become a million times worse. We send it to somebody and they send the shit back because they don't fucking like because this
Right.
shit is fucked. You eventually put it in as
And
like
you
what?
cost more.
Eventually, what you put it in is we put it in as a reprint. You redo it, it's all known about, but like it's out there, it's on the books, it's on the paper, It's like,
Right.
it's just like I've just recently started to like kind of like get into that type of thing, especially in a work environment, and especially with someone like who would be a manager, what I'm saying, but like now that I'm like the next person there, I'm pretty much like watching over a lot of the different things now and
Yeah.
different
You're
people,
expected to at
and
this point.
now I'm the most experienced person there, and I'm working with a bunch of less experienced individuals,
Mm.
and like I'm friends with these people. I'm really cool, and I've seen places where like I've fallen through and like just like lean back because I'm like I'm cool with this person. I really like this person, but I mean like right now it's just like look. I'm sorry, but I gotta be this way because for one, I like it's not that I take pride in like what I do, but it's like I told you, I'm not gonna do bad work.
Right.
I even though I could really give a shit
Mhm.
less, I'm not gonna do
At
bad
the end of the
work.
day, someone paid for it.
Exactly, and I'm not gonna do bad work. And just because I don't care or have problems here, I'm not gonna then
And that's a
fuck
problem.
this person over.
That's one of that's one of the main reasons that I'm leaving my company is because they ask us to do bad work. Like they're at the point where they're so big where they don't care about every individual job necessarily.
Yeah, I got
So
you.
there's problems with the glass, there's problems with the frame. I voiced that to them, and they're like, "Well, try to put it in, and if the customer says something, we'll order it and fix it." But they always want me to do bad work, but I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to try and be like sneaky and hope that the customer don't say something.
Yeah,
It's
yep.
like so like there was one moment where like I'm in this $1 million house, bro. They ordered a piece of glass. It was all scratched up. even the mechanic that came there originally was like, look, this is bad. Like, you got to reorder this and shit. So the piece that I get to go put in, it's scratched up like a bitch too. And I'm like, look, man, you need to call this lady. You need to tell this lady it's fucked up. Be honest with her. They messed you. We're not going to give you a fucked up piece. You know what I mean? And he's like, go put it in. Go try and put it in. If she says something, we'll reorder it. So here I am, like, got a smile on this lady's face and lied to her and know that this is a bad piece of glass, you know?
Yep.
And I'm putting this shit in. And as soon as I put it in, I walk out, I go to the truck. She comes out. Hey, she's like, look, you can tell them don't even reorder this. Just refund me my money. That glass is completely like scratched up and destroyed, which it was. She's like, I don't even want them to reorder it. Don't do nothing. Just give me my money back. I'm going to get it done by someone else. Them doing that cheap ass shit and being like that made them lose all that money. You know what I mean?
Not only that, I'm sure it made you feel like some shit.
It made me feel bad. Number
I'm
one,
sitting here.
because you're not listening to what I'm saying. Like, I'm
Yep.
telling you this
Oh,
is
yeah.
an issue, especially because it was already a problem on the job.
Yeah.
It's one thing that happens once, the same problem
Yep.
twice. That's ridiculous.
And
And then you're trying to lie about it and install it. You know, it's like you're telling me to still try and put it in. You're just putting me in a bad position.
exactly. And like, all that, the lying part. And then, at the end of the day, bro, I had this lady confronting me. And pretty much I'm the punching bag because I can't do anything back to this lady.
Thank God she
I
was
can't
nice.
say I can't exactly. I
You
can't
meet
say
some that
shit.
are horrible, yeah.
Exactly,
But then,
yeah.
like, thank that lady was nice. She's like, I know how it is. You just install it. They're the ones that get the glass. She's like, I just let them know. She was nice as shit to me.
See,
You
man,
know?
like I'm like I'm maybe overly honest with some things. Like there'll be some people I call up. They're like, hey, you sell this? I'm like, yeah. To be honest, man, we don't sell those types of things. Even if I was to sell you one, we're just gonna order it and then just fucking like double up on you real quick. So just go find somewhere else real quick. Like shit like that. I do
Right.
that all the time. I'm just
And
like,
that is good. That
you know.
is good. But I feel like it's more of a teenage thing, bro. I think you definitely should try and get into the more mindset of like, what if you own the company? You know, like
Yeah,
you want to be in that
yeah.
mindset, not only to like, oh, benefit this company, but just to get yourself in that winning mentality of like, oh, bro, I upsell. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be that person that can do those things.
See, and that's the thing. Like I know 100%. Like I understand that, but when it comes to like some of the individuals that come through to our place, and I mean like there are just some things that like for me where it's like it's like it's an absolute like tip of rip off type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And if I can't,
Okay,
if I can
yeah.
be honest with people, and
If
like,
it's that much,
and especially in something where like it's like this is something that costs $40 and we'll make 40 off it real quick. It's not like I'm talking someone out of spending $10,000.
right,
Do that all day.
right.
I mean, whatever. But like when it comes to like like things like that, like we don't stock just a bunch of banner stands. We don't claim to sell banner stands. If you want a banner stand, and then we'll print it and we'll just install it for you. It's all built into the price type of thing. You just want to buy this thing real quick that we don't even produce, and then it just okay. Well, I'm just gonna double it real quick. We'll snap it on, and it's like now you've almost paid triple for it at this point. So I'm just like. You could probably, go somewhere and order it online or Amazon it real quick, bro. And a lot of times, it probably isn't even worth it for us in general. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Just because of the time and shit that would take.
Time and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, just overall that type of thing. I mean, of course, how hard is it just to order something and then just give it to them real quick? But whatever. But like, if I can be honest with people about certain things and like. Just like little things like that, I'm gonna do it, like that position. I might have been like, look, lady, like, I mean, yeah, it's probably a good idea. You want to get someone else,
But
because I told them about it, and they fucking said,
but it's all about who
so
you write
I'm
into.
really sorry,
It's all about who you write into,
Yeah, exactly,
though, right?
100%,
Because the other day I meet this guy down on fucking
100%.
North Hilton, bro, and he meets me there to open up, and there's like this fucking it's a broken window, and it's like fucking like 40, it's like 35 feet in the air total. And it's got like those lights that are attached to the walls over top, big ass, tall ass ceiling, with like a spiral case in the middle and shit. It's like a big ass, like, office building or some shit. And I'm looking up at it, and it's got to be done from the inside, and I'm like, bro, I'm literally in front of the window. In front of the windows is steps, just those spiral steps that I'm talking about. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna put a 30-foot ladder on a pair of steps, bro. Like, first of all, I'm gone this week. Number one, I'm gone this week. But number two, this is just stupid. Like, you just don't do shit like that, So This guy was an older man. He's probably like 55, 60, somewhere around there. And he's like, I'm a contractor too. I've been doing this for 30 years and you could get a 20-foot up there. And I'm just like, I just felt so like attacked, bro. Cause I'm just like, at this point, I've been doing this for 8 years, bro. Like, I'm not no bullshitter that tries to get away from work. I'm telling
Exactly.
you,
Yeah.
number one, I'm telling you, I'm not doing this job. So you're not going to talk me into it. I'm not doing it. I already know how it's going to go.
Mhm.
So just to prove a point, though, to him, because I felt like just being so smart, I go and grab my 20-foot off the top. I put my 20-foot up on there and I go and slam it down and it like hits the light fixture, like the thing that's holding the light fixture, like bam. I'm like, it can't go from there, which would be like the flat part of the stairs, where you walk over to the next
Yeah.
steps, and I'm like, can't go from there. He's like, you got to go under it. I'm like, I already told you I'm not putting it on the steps. So I don't know what you're talking. He's like, well, the painters did it. He's like, the painters got up there and did it. I'm like, bro, I'm showing you this. First of all, this 20-foot ain't even going to reach the window. It's like 30-foot. I got 20-foot, And on top of that, you would hit this metal thing if you go from the safe spot. If not, you're going straight up. And I can't work off of no ledge or nothing.
Yep.
Like, I can't work off of this 20-foot with a window
Exactly.
fucking 50 by 40,
Yeah, you might be able to get off painting.
That's what I told him. I'm like, that's a lot different, right? So we go up on the outside, like on the roof and shit. And I'm like, I really felt attacked by this guy. So like, cause like when I showed him that with the window, I was like, well, you got a more experience than me. So I thought you would know, but I showed you that that's not right, So we go up top of there and I'm like, come over here. I'm like, so where did they set up the ladder when they did the painting? He's like, right there. I'm like, they set it up on the stairs? I told you I wasn't doing that. He's like, no, they set it up on the end. I'm like, but they set it up on the end, they would hit the light with the ladder. I showed you that when I brought my 20-foot in. I'm like, that at 32-foot, they would definitely hit the light, And he's like, well, I wasn't here when they did it. I'm like, oh, you weren't here when you did it, so you don't know how I should do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then he's like, well, let me go grab my laser and I'll tell you how far it is. So he goes and grabs this laser and he does it and he comes out the truck. He's like, 28 foot. I'm like, show me. He's like, 20 foot from back at the spot that I showed him. I can't put the ladder, And I'm just so frustrated at this point because I'm just like, bro, not only are you a dumbass, like, I exceeded your IQ like 5 years ago, bro. I can't even believe you probably get paid more than me just to do this and fuck up jobs, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, like, I'm recognizing like I'm not going to be able to fix this window today. And this guy keeps talking all this shit. And I explained to him, he's like, you're right. So I'm like, look, I'm going to save you some money today, right? That's the whole point of me getting to this, right? Where I'm like, that's a window 30 feet up. You're not even going to ever see that window or ever use it. Nobody's ever going to even come close to it. It's on a roof, basically, and no stairs even go. There's not even a floor up to it. I was like, I'll cut the window on the outside out. It was only broken on the outside. I was like, I'll cut the rest of that window out and I'll clean all that glass up. And you still have side of that unit that's there. And nobody will ever know from 30 feet on the ground, And he's like, no. I'm like, look, man. We're not going to charge you. Like, whatever you already got, whatever you charge us to come out here, we're not going to even charge you for the glass. You're probably going to get this for free. I'll be cutting this glass out, cleaning this glass up, and at least having something presentable. You're going to get that for free, And he's like, no, I'll figure it out. So I ended up leaving. I told him also, I'm like, look, man, I offered he didn't want me to clean up the glass. Like, I don't even understand. I was trying to save this man money, and he wouldn't listen to me because he was so stubborn, bro.
Yeah.
I had another crazy time. I was actually just telling the guy Bird about this. I never told you the story, but this is the day I learned you need to watch how you talk to certain men, and you need to learn that different men are triggered by different words, right? So we had a 15 piece for sale, right? At Popeyes. That's what I'm in the drive-through. And this felon, bro, who did 21 years gets out and gets a job at Popeyes.
I remember
this
seeing
guy
that guy,
named Bird, bro. Cocky as a bitch, bro. Was a cool ass dude. Still fuck with him. Love him. If I see him, I still damn him. I love the guy. Like, was an awesome guy. Really was trying to like get his life right and shit, And they ended up making him basically my helper. Once again, bro, 15 years old, got a 40-year-old helper, But it's just so funny, But he ends up being my helper to drive through, and he's trying to just do ultimately nice. It's like he's just happy to be out of jail, bro. So he's just ultimately nice on these things. So we got a 14 piece that was $15. And then we could give you a 15 piece for $14 because of the special, right?
Yeah.
And with that, I could give you a large side instead of a small, and I can give you 2 extra biscuits, right? So the lady's like, let me get the 14 piece. And like every time someone says that, we're like, look, we got a 15 piece because we're trying to help people. Like,
yeah, exactly.
We don't even benefit from that. I'm just help people like sell the special, like look, it was like $3 cheaper and you got more chicken, more biscuits, more sides, so I would usually offer to everyone and they would be like, oh yeah, that's great, thank you. Well, like he's picking up on how I did it, so he's trying his turn and he's like, look man, we got a 15. He explains it just how I do, and the lady's like, I'm good, I want the 4 TVs. And he's like, ma'am, you get an extra piece of chicken. He goes through it. It's extra chicken. You get a large side, some small, and you get 2 extra biscuits for $3 less. And she's like, I'm good. I want the 14 piece. And he's like, ma'am, I'm trying to. And she's like, I told you that I'm good. And like he's getting frustrated. And I'm like, Bird, that's good. Like, let me talk. I'm gonna take over, right? And he's like, no, he's like, wait a minute, like I'm gonna figure this out. And he's like, listen, man, I'm trying to help. And she drives away and like leaves us. And like I'm just like frustrated because he wouldn't shut up, And I looked at him and I was like, you need to stop acting like a female, bro. And every bit of those 21 years in prison, snapped over and looked me man to man, eye to eye, when I was 15, 16, I was like 130 pounds, dude. I'm only 160 now, 130 pounds at the time, bro. And he looked, and I mean, this was a grown man, boy, like 6'3", 225 at least, solid muscle, been working out. And he looked me in my eyes and he was like, you'll never talk to me like that. And I was like, I know, I'm sorry. Like, I don't even know. I was like, I don't even know, like, what the fuck, Like, and that day, I learned, like, you can't just talk to a man how you think you can talk to a man. I was going to say you're acting like, here's the thing, right? Here's my dumbass.
You know what? You're right.
Here's my dumbass mindset as a teenager, right? I was going to say you're acting like a bitch. But I didn't want to say that to anybody, So I was like, you're acting like a real female. A motherfucker from prison in 21 years. That's the same thing, what I mean?
Grown.
And bro, but I tell you, you ever see The New Guy? When he gives, The New Guy is like a movie where he gives these crazy eyes. He like snaps his crazy eyes. That's what he did, Like he snapped over and looked at me and like his eyes were fucking dead set on my eyes. And he was like, you don't ever talk to me like that. And I swear to God, bro,
you're right.
I was like, because I really did like the guy too. Yeah. And I noticed I upset him, like, because that wouldn't upset me that much. I'd be like, fuck you, whatever. To him, that was like,
it's not a joke to him, exactly.
He might have took my ass if we was in prison. And I said that, you know what I mean? So like that hit me and I was like, and it really was my boy and we really was cool. And I was like, I shouldn't have talked to you like that, man. Like, you're not one of my friends like that. Like, I shouldn't be saying. And I just really learned a valuable lesson that day, of like, boy, if you can't beat them, you better be careful with how you talk, man.
Oh yeah.
But also a story of trying to give a customer a better deal, and they just don't want it. And
that's the thing, man.
Sometimes you got to say, okay.
Of course, I'm always gonna do try and do what's best for the company. But at the end of the day, I'm also, I'm not the company. Like, I'm a person at the end of the day. It's like, hey, you want to come get your, overpriced business cards, awesome, let's do it, but it's like, hey man, you want to come buy a piece of equipment and then I'm just gonna bang you real quick and, double up on that and just like, I'm gonna take the cash. It's like,
right.
It's like, dude, bro, you can just go probably order one off Amazon real quick, you know what I'm saying, man? It's like, it's obviously someone that doesn't know,
right? Well, like that day I'm sitting there and I'm hearing a woman, and she's ordering a 14 piece, so that's obviously she's probably ordering for family or friends, and I'm thinking like, okay, maybe single mom, so I'm thinking, okay, let me try and do the right thing. And if he probably would have let me talk, I might have got the job done, because I did have the fastest drive-through times in all of East Coast. Okay,
there's another thing, like, like we usually have like a $10 minimum going on, up front when people like kind of like walk in and do things. And I always like try to talk to someone before, like, I even like just tell them about
charge them, yeah.
But like if they come in and say, look, it's just a shipping label, bro. I'm just like, look, man, it's black and white. It's just 15 cents real quick.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
It's $10.
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
I do the same thing when I'm on a job. I always, as I'm doing jobs, customers come up and they're like, hey, you guys, you measure this, you do this, and I'm always like, look, man, hey, call them up. They give free quotes, and if you don't like it, tell them no.
And I tell people all the time, I'm like, because like I make it a thing. It's like, especially if I haven't seen him before, I'm just like, look, like, don't worry about it, but for the future, we do charge that. You come back, we're gonna charge this $10 minimum thing going on, and then
next time I talk to you, it's gonna cost you 10.
Yeah, and people, people come back,
Hey, real quick, take my 10 baggers for tomorrow.
And
he's like, fuel cells. Here, take these.
And another cool thing is that, like, it also makes people like think like you're doing them a quick favor, and and people are like a lot nicer from.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
So I mean, like, for one, like, I know a lot of times, people will go up and but yeah, it's $10. And it's like, oh, fuck that,
Sometimes it's the littlest things too,
and of
man.
course, you always got you gotta feel the person out. I'm just like, and a lot, especially if it's like feel like I'm going to Los Angeles, like, look, man, like, don't worry about this time, but in the future we do charge that, just like,
Like
just,
all the mechanics, down that I work with, they're always like, don't worry about washing the glass. It matched the other ones is what they always say because it's dirty basically. So they're like, it matches the rest of them. But it really, when you install a window, you're supposed to clean it every time.
Yeah.
So for me, like if I'm putting in somebody's like double window, I'll clean the other one too. You know what I mean? Like just to add that into it. And I swear, like I've gotten tips from that. Just people way nicer, way happier. It's like, oh, that looks great. Thanks. Because I already got the window down and I'm on the outside, so it's nothing for, oh, they're never going to be able to get this.
Bro, I get so.
You just go, you give it, and it just takes no effort,
Yeah. So, I mean, compared to like, the other coworker that I was working with, the amount of quotes that I won versus the amount that she won and would even write up, I mean, it was just like, I always had at least 10 more than her, and, I mean, people would just, people just enjoy work with me, I mean, make it cool. I mean, I've had it before with people like, look, you charge a little more, but like, I like you, guy, it's cool,
yeah.
whatever,
Yeah, definitely.
I've gotten tips before too, where it's just like, it's like, just being, just nice, cool dude. Like I said, I mean, of course, I'm always gonna do my job right, but at the end of the day, I'm a person. This is just another person, man. It's like, hey, you're cool. I can do a little something for you right now. I say, look, I won't hit you with this,
dude.
You're a dick, man. Best believe.
Do you know who gets that the most I ever heard of, bro? Kay at that fucking bank, bro.
Yeah,
because her bank really does have like better deals than average banks, than like M&T and shit.
Yeah.
And when they do like price, they save thousands of dollars, yo. They come in there and give them all types of shit, bro. So one lady came in there, gave them all $50 Amazon gift cards. 4 people, Amazon gift cards. Someone the other day came in there, bought them all coffees and gave them $25 Dunkin' gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
Another person came in there and bought them a bouquet of chocolate covered strawberry, chocolate covered pineapple, because they saved them so much money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So inspired by that, I went to Endy's and they didn't save me money. That breakfast spot I told you like about the MV, it didn't save me no money, but I just liked the spot. So I bought them all $5 scratch offs and gave like the whole staff one day.
That's cool, bro.
Just inspired by what they were doing for King Town. Because I was like,
cool,
man, these people, I like this place.
Especially when you're a regular.
I was like, I like this place. I want to do this for them.
It's something fun, It's like,
hey, it's a scratch off. Hope you win $1 million.
Yeah,
but deep down, you hope they don't, because you're like, that's a scratch that.
They win 50K. You're just like, ugh. I hope they break me off.
I know, right? Like, give me 10.
Exactly. I don't expect nothing.
It's just 10K. Love you all. Thank you for checking us out. Another great cast. Hopefully get another one in before it's nice, sweet. Maybe Friday, get one in before a nice, we're on skis this time. Okay, so I got to get my ski formation down.
Bro.
I got to get my
pizza, french fry.
You know what I mean? Holla at your boy. We're up in Gettysburg. Holla at your boy on the
slopes.
Your boys hit the slopes. All right. Holla at y'all. Be safe. Love you all. Thank you.
Share, subscribe.
Shout out to Saul, baby. Stay safe.